It says in the Code of Jewish Law, chapter 494, 3 days before the holiday of Shavuot, one should not fast. Why? It's a holiday. These were the days that the Jewish people were fenced away from Sinai. They are called the Yemei Hagbalah. There was a commandment that God told Moses, make sure they don't go onto the mountain. It's going to be too holy, too overwhelming. Anyone goes there is going to die. Therefore, you put up barricades around the mountain and do not let anyone go up the mountain. These are called the Yemei Hagbalah. 3 days before Shavuos, we did not go onto the mountain. And because of this, already we now celebrate the holiday, starting by not fasting. There's no mourning. Rather, we put ourselves in the mood of receiving the Torah on Sinai. This is true based on the statement of the Magen Avram in the Code of Jewish Law. However, the Alter Rebbe, in the same chapter, elaborates in more detail. And he says every day, starting from the first day of the arrival at Mount Sinai until the receiving of the Torah, on the 6th day of Sivan, each day they did something. Each day was a preparation. He goes on to say that the 3rd day of Sivan, this was the mitzvah of Hagbalah. This was the mitzvah to fence the mountain. Therefore, we should not go up to the mountain. Day number 4 of Sivan, this was the day of Prisha, the day that husband and wife had to separate so that they would be pure and holy to receive the Torah on Sinai. The fact that in the Code of Jewish Law, the Alter Rebbe tells us these details, and the Code of Jewish Law is not a history book, but rather it's a book of law. This means that this is telling us this is the preparation for the receiving of the Torah on Sinai. The mission statement of the Jewish people were given to us throughout these 6 days, starting from the arrival at Sinai up until the actual giving of the 10 Commandments from God himself when God came down onto the mountain. So each day had a different detail of this mission statement. Why does the concept of do not go onto the mountain and the concept of separate from your spouse? As Jews, as God's people, our mission is really antithetical and contradictory. Because on one hand, we are told that every day we should desire to go higher and higher. We should want to connect to God. When we say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Lekeinu, Hashem Echad, Hear, O Israel, God is our Lord, God is one. What should we say? We should say, God, I'm willing to die for you. In other words, I want to connect with you. I want to be so intimate with you that nothing else in the world matters. So it's really a concept of ascending higher and higher spiritually. On the other hand, we are told that the entire purpose of creation, of why we are here, the $60,000 question, why did God create the world? Why are we here? To make a dwelling place for God down here in this world. To make a dira b'tachtonim. To make a dwelling place for God here in this world. And that's why God created a physical world. He could have created a spiritual world, and there we can go higher and higher and get more and more connected to God. But God wanted a dira b'tachtonim. He wanted a dwelling place down here in this world. And because of these 2 important details of our mission statement, comes along the Alter Rebbe in Shulchan Aruch, and he says, you should know, on the 3rd of Sivan, we were obligated to put barricades around the mountain, not to go up to the mountain. Why? To tell us that even though you are told that every day when you pray, you should go higher and higher, get more and more spiritual, get more and more godly, get more and more lofty, and remove yourself from the physical, don't overdo it. Don't lose yourself. You have to remember that you have to still be grounded down here in this world. And there we're going to put this barricade around the mountain, because if you go too high on the mountain, you're going to die. You're going to OD on Judaism. You're going to OD on God. And that's prohibited. We know that this was the sin of the two sons of Aaron. They went into the Holy of Holies, they got so high, so ecstatic, so spiritual, and they lost it. So going high and wanting to go high, yes, that's very important. But yet, there is a limit. You have to remember, you have to return. Now, so we are people of extremes. So you tell me now I got to go back into the world. I have to be part of the world. If that is the case, I want to indulge in every pleasure of the world. I want to do whatever my heart desires. Says the Torah, God says on day number 4 of Sivan, separate from your spouse. In other words, yes, you're allowed to be married. Yes, you're allowed to eat food. Yes, you're allowed to make money. All these things are permissible. But it has its limitations. Don't overindulge. Don't become materialistic. Don't become animalistic. And when you have this balance of day 3 and day 4, on one hand, that desire to go higher, but yet remember not to lose it. On the other hand, the desire to be down here in this world to create a dwelling place for God, but not to become tarnished by the world around us. Then we have the complete package. We have the mission statement. Now we are ready to move on to Sinai to receive the Torah, b'simcha, with joy, or b'primius, and to truly internalize it.